everything that is not a standard jibe or standard tech. It starts with duck jibes, first 360s, palaus and whatever, and then goes to the most difficult jumping and also the flow freestyle tricks. It's a lot of me. For me, almost too much me, because on the photos, you see me basically on every page, and even you see, even on the cover. The reason for that is not because I want myself to be everywhere. For example, there's just getting the wing above you, standing up and showing that on a beginner board and so on, having a pro rider or someone like that do it is not easy.
If people want to be featured in your book and they have a new trick coming, do they make a video and they send it to you, or how does that work? This episode is sponsored by Foilsessions. Foilsessions is the app to track your foiling sessions, whether that's pump foiling, wing foiling, parawinging, downwinding, whatever. And Jens, to promote his product, he's going to give away an Apple Watch. So make sure to follow at Foilsessions App on Instagram. Hit me up in the comments if you're interested to win a brand new Apple Watch. All right, let's get into the episode.
This is Up on Foil, a podcast for everyone flying just above the surface. Pump, carve, soar, let's foil!
This episode is also supported by SurfEars, but more on that later.
Welcome to episode number 92 of Up on Foil, the podcast where we talk all about foiling. And let me introduce us real quick. I'm Matt. I'm an average foiler, mostly into parawinging, but fell back in love with winging a bit. And I'm excited to have Michi with me. And he's the man behind Tricktionary. He published 6 books in 7 languages and just brought out the wing foil Tricktionary. I'm super excited, Michael, to have you on the show as I'm getting back into winging. Is there anything, Michael, people need to know about you right away before we get really into it?
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It's really good to be here and to get in touch with you because we haven't met before, right?
Exactly.
Actually, no, there's not too much to say other than that I'm into wing foiling more than parawinging, but I see it coming, parawinging being more and more interesting. And yeah, and that's it. I'm freestyler all my life. I do free riding and so on as well, but I love freestyling. I can't ride more than 100 meters straight before trying something. But that is what I love, and yeah.
Has that always been like that? Like, what was your upbringing sports-wise?
It was, yeah. I mean, I started windsurfing when I was in summer holiday with my parents, and that was when I was 13. And then every year I did a little bit of windsurfing, and from when I got my driving license with 18 and I could fly somewhere myself, I was just on the water. And it was always freestyle that made me go crazy and want more. And that's what followed me until now. So yeah.
Very nice. So windsurfing, because when I look back, I started windsurfing when I was like 10 or even maybe 7, I think. But it wasn't really freestyling. It was too difficult, like chibing, tacking, and maybe a duck chibe once in a while. That was the most that I did. What were your like first tricks going into windsurfing?
Oh, I know. I remember perfectly. I remember. So this was the time when I started this. It was like the time around. I mean, I'm born in 1980. So when I was 18, 1998, there was just this whole freestyle thing of Josh Stone with all the guys, all the pro wave sailors and racers. Everybody went into freestyle, and all this freestyle revolution came up. So at some point I started to do more and more around that time, and yes, it is a challenge. Freestyle windsurfing or windsurfing in general is really difficult to get to a point. And back then it was even more tricky because nobody knew what was possible. There were no tricks, or not many tricks. There were a few, of course. I mean, the pioneers, they did jumps and crazy things even on the really, really big boards and so on. I mean, the old photos, you see that, but then it was really the time when all these tricks suddenly appeared step by step. And I remember perfectly, I think must have been my 18th or maybe my 19th birthday when I got a video learning with Josh Stone, front loop and back loop. And I got that for my birthday in a VHS cassette, you remember?
Who,
And,
who do you get it
and
from?
my grandparents. And my
Oh,
grandparents, they
wow.
were standing behind me when I was watching this, and they were like, "Isn't that too advanced for you?" And I'm like, I was like, "Oh no, this is so cool." And I was watching this, I think, I don't know, this and Robin Nash's famous rip video and so on. I was watching these forever, and I was so excited. And then in the first summer after we did this trip with the school, this end of school trip,
Yeah.
and to the island of Kos, and everybody else
Wow.
was partying all night, and I was driving to the to the windsurf center on the other side of the island every day, and I had wind every day, and I was riding there. And then so I went back home, came back, and went there all summer, and that was when I learned the front loop. So I learned the front loop. I wanted to learn that so much. I was the first one on the center, and I learned it before the duck jibe. So I could
Really?
jibe, of course, and tack, but I couldn't do duck jibes. Never came to my mind that you could duck jibes. I was doing front loop before that, yeah, and I landed it even in that time when I was there, and it was a big thing, and that motivated me so much to learn and improve more. Yeah.
I think it was in the early 2000s when I was in Fuerteventura, and I actually took a class, like a freestyle class, if you will. And this guy said, okay, you can either do the air jibe or we can do the front loop. And the front loop is easier, but I was so scared I didn't choose that. Is it actually easier?
Technically, it's easier, yeah, because in the air jibe, there's people fighting with the air jab for a long, long time. But I mean, once you can do it, the air jab, the thing is, once you do an air jab and then a spock, you can't even do an air jab anymore. You do spocks right away. But it's technically the front loop or speed loop, just to rotate it and land water starting. It's easier, yeah. To land it planing, that's another story. That's another several years of practicing, and even then it's a challenge to land it perfectly planing every time.
Of course, we're going to get into foiling eventually. When was the last time you windsurfed on a fin?
That was like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks, I don't
All
remember,
right.
2 or 3 weeks
All right.
ago. And of course I had in winter here in Tarifa we didn't ride so much, because in winter we have pretty rough conditions here sometimes, and I was actually riding once when it was like for 3.6 overpower, 2 meter onshore, side onshore. It was crazy, more fighting than like more surviving than riding, but it's exciting sometimes. And but 2 3 weeks ago we had the gear there, and I went freestyling, and I was so happy when I went there, and it was like there was after several months of wing foiling and not freestyle windsurfing, and I tried my first this move and that move and this move, and then I ended up doing an hour of all the different moves that I could remember, and I actually landed so many of them that I was surprised. Like, you don't lose that once you did those tricks so many times and got them unlocked. It's they stay with you. And even freestyle wing foiling helps you for those tricks and the other way around. So you always take skills over to the other sport. So yeah,
Do you windsurf on the foil as well?
I did. That's what I did before wing foiling kind of started. That's why in the beginning when I saw wing foiling, I was like, "Oh, this looks so bad. This looks so boring." Because of course I was riding a 90-liter freestyle windsurf foil board with a rather fast foil and jumping around already and doing all the 360s and everything. And then there was wing foiling coming, and there was this wing that was so soft and flappy, and there the huge heavy boards, huge foils, and it always looked so boring until I took a wing and I mean, I learned it anyway. And then I took a wing and jumped on my freestyle windsurf foil board, and I couldn't believe how nice and maneuverable that thing was. And I tried the first jumps and was impressed how easy I could land my first 360, for example, or an air jibe. Compared to windsurfing or windsurf foiling, it was crazy the difference.
Yeah, like wing foiling, it felt so light compared to this heavy stuff that you have from windsurfing. And now with pairwing, it's again the same thing, like being even lighter. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Can you maybe, because I saw your books on Instagram, and I'm very much focused on all the foiling sports, and I'm on Instagram way too much. But I haven't seen Tricktionary before, and now it pops up everywhere on my YouTube, on my Instagram. So I finally found you, and I didn't see you before, and maybe you can help me out here because you have 3 windsurf books. Is that correct?
Yeah, but the windsurf book, that was the first one that I started, and it was coming out in 2006, the first edition.
Oh,
So
really?
the 3 are versions basically. The number 1
Okay.
and 2 don't exist anymore. The number 3 is the latest version, the latest generation of windsurf books. Yeah,
When
and
did
then
that come out?
that came out in 2017.
Okay.
And then, and in 2013, I released the kiteboarding Tricktionary. It's a twin tip edition, which also has everything from from starting to kite until all the just, normal tricks, all the high jumps, and all the freestyle tricks. There's no directional edition. The thing is, I wanted to release this directional book, and I worked on it for a few years even, and did photos and everything. But there was a big shift, which was basically many riders that worked with me suddenly changed sponsors, and there was the transition from North to Duotone.
Yeah.
So that kind of made all the photos that were done on North hard to release with all the riders that now changed to Duotone. And then there was the other thing that other few riders that were not even related with that changed also sponsors. So everything came together, and I could until now not finish the directional edition of the book yet. We will see if I can manage to finish it at some point.
Did you know that spending time in cold water and wind can cause your ears to slowly grow extra bone, sometimes enough to block them completely? It's called surfer's ear or exostosis, and it's part of your body's natural protective response. But ear problems aren't only about cold. Warm or polluted water can also lead to swimmer's ear, infection and inflammation, whether in pools, lakes, or the ocean. SurfEars is the original patented earplug from Sweden. It's modular, customizable, and comfortable, designed to seal from water while keeping hearing and balance intact. Sustainably made and trusted by water people worldwide.
But yeah, in 2017, I finally could release the new windsurfing book, which is, I think now really, really complete. It's really hard to put more in that than if there is. More knowledge. There's a few more tricks, but it's really very complete. And then in 22 I released the stand-up paddle Tricktionary, which may sound strange to people that you need a Tricktionary, but it's not. The basic principle of the Tricktionary was always to bring in all knowledge of a sport in one place, in one book, so that every time you sit down you can go through it and find something. And so in the stand-up paddle book, it's also starting from zero, and people may not know that they need it, but there is so much to learn. Like even just changing paddle from one side to the other, paddling on one side to be
Holding
going
it
straight.
the right way, please, people.
People would need even holding the paddle the right way. Oh man!
Yeah,
But
like
this is the
there's
very
no-
basic, So yeah,
But still,
yeah.
people would, anyway.
So yeah, but then there's different disciplines, and more than I could ever imagine, actually. I'm not the author of that book. It's a close friend of mine, Fred Bonef, who is a really high level stand-up paddler knows everyone. So there's all the World Cup stars of stand-up paddling in all the disciplines there. There's wave, there's the racing, the touring, the adventure part, there's long distance and whatever, everything. I mean, it's a big sport. And I also have that book in 5 languages. So yeah, and finally last December I could make myself a Christmas present. After 3 or even more years working on it, I could release the Wingfoil Tricktionary, the first book, which is the basics and free ride edition. So there's everything inside from the
Yes.
very zero until free riding at small boards, water starts, pumping technique, jibing, tacking, of course, and that's that was a big step. I'm really happy that this came out. Yeah,
You said 3 years. That's
yeah.
such a long time. Like, how much time can you invest in such a project? And what are you doing besides that?
Well, this is that's my main. Well, it's kind of my main job since many years to do these books, and then I also publish them myself. I mean, everybody who orders a book from me at some point gets it from me, from not from me
Okay.
by hand packed, but I mean, I'm also I'm running this publishing company to publish and sell those books, which is kind of the only way that I found many years ago, like back then in 2006 when I did the first one. It was the only way to really do these books and sell them in different languages worldwide, because no publishing company would do that. They would always just do one language and one, I don't know, country or so. So all the offers were basically not usable back then to publish it in worldwide, and so I did that myself, and that's what I still do. I'm printing those books, publishing, promoting them, and then I do a lot of coaching now as well. So advanced coaching. I do a lot of camps, events. I'm judging at the GWA and the Spanish World Cups in freestyle wing foiling.
Oh,
So
that
yeah.
makes a lot of sense. So you see the new tricks appearing and make notes that what you have to. All right, that is super cool. Right now, like on my Facebook, I see people being in, I don't know, Egypt. It is like saying, "All right, I'm doing some new stuff for Tricktionary." That's so exciting. Who are you working with? Do people need to apply when they want to like be featured, or is it just like writers? And I see mainly Duotone. Um, how does that work?
You mean on the Instagram, for example, or on Facebook?
Yeah.
Well, there's so it's pretty cool. I mean, the community in wing foiling is similar as what I like in windsurfing and in kiteboard, all these sports. You know how it is. Also, I mean, parawinging, foiling, everything. You know, you go to the beach and you basically have, you know, as many friends as there are wing foilers or water sports enthusiasts at the beach, and so also the professional community, they the athletes, I mean, first of all, they are all very young now. The World Cup riders are very young, and many of them were when they started were with me in a camp, for example, because I did also I'm doing I'm coach at these young blood camps from Duotone, for example, for many years now. So many of them were discovered there, were they had some coaching with me, and it's good relationship with all those writers, and it's really nice to see them. I mean, and they all need a little bit of support, of course, by us, by you, by people who do things like what we do, like basically work for the sport or in the sport. So I like that a lot. What you saw is probably a video from Beat,
Yeah.
Stefan, the
Yeah.
Dr. Beat, and Dr. Beat is he's a long time water sports enthusiast. He basically discovered Goyito Estredo, if you remember, and Ricardo and so on, and I mean, he's there for forever, and he helps a lot. I work with him now also on the next edition of the book. It will be the advanced and freestyle edition. So in the advanced and freestyle edition, there will be a lot of everything that is not a standard jibe or standard tech or standard pumping technique and so on. So there will be it starts with duck jibes and so on, and then it goes through all the not jumping tricks, and then it goes into jumping with the basics, first 360s, palaus and whatever, and then it goes to the most difficult jumping and also the flow freestyle tricks that you may have seen from Pete. And he's supporting me a lot. And that's why you probably saw him he's very active posting on Facebook his tricks, because he has this desire to, or actually he's there already. He's doing the most tricks. He wants to be the person who can do the most different diversity of tricks in wing foiling and not jumping even. I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing amazing things. Yeah, it's always so inspiring to ride with him. He also is here in Tarifa, lives here in Tarifa a lot of time of the year, and yeah, it's really great. And just to come back to the other thing, of course, there's a lot of riders. There's a lot of riders from duathlon, which, I mean, the reason for that is because I'm also duathlon supported. That's why also in the book there's a lot of duathlon, and especially in the first one. I mean, duathlon supports me for many, many years, and the gear is really, really, really good. And so it's a very good relationship that I have there. And in the first book, it's a lot of me. For me, almost too much me, because on the photos, you see me basically on every page, and even you see even on the cover,
Yeah.
and all over the place. And the reason for that is not because I want myself to be everywhere, but it's really hard to get a pro rider do these basic things, because it's like, Christian, if I just open the book, it's basically, look, for example, there's just getting the wing above you standing up and showing that on a beginner board and so on. Having a pro rider or someone like that do it is not easy. And so what I did, and why it takes so many years to finish a project like this, especially in a young sport, is that I had to find out what is the best ways, not even the one best way, but the best ways, and write it down and take photos of it and find a photo for every way that you could imagine. Even if I like this way, I need to say, okay, the other way, there is this other way, and some people like the other way more. And you know how it is, also with the parawinging, there's many ways to get going, to stash it, to, pack it, to, I don't know, whatever. There's so many ways, and they are not wrong or right. Some are easier for some, and it's good to know them, because maybe something gets easier if you know the technique. And that's why, so that's why it's a lot of me in the book, but I support a lot of riders with all the social media and so on. And I do a lot of coaching also. And it's a lot of duathlon, because a lot of the riders, we know each other. I did, for example, the duathlon team coach in the Youth World Cup last year. There was a lot of kids and youth, and so I know a lot of duathlon riders, but it's not exclusive. I'm really happy to support everyone. So yeah, that's very cool.
But is Duathlon like helping you with the publishing? Are they covering some costs, or is that just like, no, you're going to be shown, it's fine?
No, that's me. I mean, that's all financed by me. There's no relation like that. There's also the books that I have. I never have advertisement in any of the books. So it's not that no, it's not. I mean, they support me as a writer. I mean, of course, I need a lot of gear, because I really, if you open
You need
there's also
beginner
my
gear
whole.
as well.
Sorry?
You need beginner's gear as well for your book, not for yourself, but for like doing stuff for your book, right?
Yeah, for that, many times I had support by the places where I usually am. So here in Tarifa, we have some places in the Iron Club or the Adrenaline Center, or in Lake Garda, because we spent the summer in Lake Garda, where I do a lot of camps. And in the Duathlon Pro Center, for example, I do a lot of camps, and I can really go and, I need to take photos. Yes, go get some stuff, and I take whatever I need. And they always have the latest gear, which is important for the photos also. And so I have support from them. I have support from Duathlon. Like, for example, the cover photo here on the book, that was shot before the wing was out, because I called them. It's like, I need to take a cover shot. And so in no time, there was board. I think even the board and the wing was there, and we went out in the morning and took those photos, made sure that nobody sees them, and then we so it's the latest gear on the photos. And so it's not that there's that the support by Duotone is not really financially, but they support me a lot with all these things like managing gear. Also, my son is riding, my wife is riding, so it's a lot of stuff
Very
that you
nice.
need.
Very cool. But you just said something that I think is super important. You said you had 3 years on that book. Like 3-year-old wings are super old already. How stressful was that for you when you said, all right, I have these, I don't know, 75% of the book. I still need some, but the longer I wait, the more, not obsolete, but the older the book's gonna look. How stressful was that?
Yeah, that's yeah. Well, so for me, it's always a bit stressful, but I'm now used to it slowly because those books, like every book, kind of took 3 years so far, and that was because they were so big. In this moment with the wing foil, the second book might come quicker because in the beginning I started with the idea of doing it like with the other sports, finishing it and having one book for the whole sport. But I just discovered that it wouldn't fit in a book. It's like just beginner, like the book that we have now plus freestyle would be such a thick book that nobody would want to take it with them anymore. So I decided to split it the first time. This book split it in multiple parts, and so yeah, working on. I mean, in this book, it's pretty cool because actually there is some styles that changed, but even with the gear that is like there's photos in there like you say from 3 years ago or so, and it's sometimes funny because you see really in this book the history of the whole sport kind of. Do you see,
That can be
like I didn't
in it.
start 3 years ago. I actually started, I don't remember the exact year, but I started when wing foiling started, kind of. Then I started with the whole wing foil. I said like, yes, I will do a wing foil book. And so it was kind of, it's probably more like 5 years or so. I mean, as many years as wing foiling is there. And there's photos in there. I don't know if I find them now, but there's photos in there with the first duotone wings, for example. And there's a cool photo in there I have to show you. For example, this one. Look, this one is my daughter and my son. You see that?
Very nice. It's like
So,
your
and look
family
at the wing.
yearbook. Yeah.
Huh? Look at the
It's
wing,
like a
how old it
family
is.
yearbook that you have. That's,
It's the
oh, that is
first echo. Yeah, that's the start of the kids and youth chapter, for example. And I had to put this photo in there. It's just too cool. So that's probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And the cool thing is really it shows the progression of the whole sport. And yeah, I mean, some things they get obsolete when when technique changes, but if it doesn't change, it's actually nice to see that we were riding crazy flappy gear, really big, slow, kind of bad foils, and we were still doing all the things. Now, I mean, it's the efficiency and the performance is amazing. It's crazy.
I always think back, like if I were to do one of these sports on my old gear again, how I would feel. Because back then it was epic. It was the best thing ever. And now it would be weird, but also fun, I think. Do you still have old gear that you use sometimes or that you've used again?
No, I don't have, but I encounter someone that may have gear from me that I sold them at some
Oh,
point
really?
in time, and many times or sometimes I just see gear, and then or sometimes they come. Some people come to a camp or to a coaching session with me, and then they have that old gear or have old gear, no matter if it was mine or not, but they have old gear that I was riding back then. And then sometimes I have to, because what I do when I do coaching, I go always with them in the water and I ride as well. And one main thing that I want, and many times I see already. I have to try it myself. I have to try their gear myself to feel how it feels and if it's set up correctly. And many times it's
Yeah,
not.
sure.
So, you know how important it is to set up
Yeah.
the foil gear and everything, and the pressure in the wing and so on. So many times I come back to that and then I write that and I'm like, wow, what a big difference. And sometimes it's hard because you have someone that you're teaching and you can't tell them your gear is shit. You need to, I mean, put it a bit diplomatic. And it's not shit. It's just really old, and the development is so fast at the moment. It's it's crazy.
But sometimes it's still great. I was on a wing foil sailing trip this spring, and there was this guy riding with 3-year-old gear. But sometimes he was the only one on foil because he was able to get on foil so slowly, and the wing was a tractor, but it pulled him on foil where everyone else was just waiting. So it's not per se bad, but it's
No, yeah.
different.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Of course,
Um,
it's different. It feels so different, right?
yeah, 100%, 100%. With windsurf, you also have DVDs out, right?
Oh yeah. There's people still buying DVDs, yes. Even.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I
funny.
have some left. I mean, in 2009, I think I released that it's a triple DVD set. And it has like 150 tutorial clips of 2 to 5 minutes. So it's always me talking to video, slow motion, back and forth and blah, blah, and talking through all the things that are also in the book. That is for windsurfing. But after a while, I put all this in the mobile app, and so now it's all in a mobile app. All these videos plus slow motions plus other clips and so on are in the Windsurf Tricktionary mobile app. Yeah.
Maybe for the younger listeners, DVDs were some shiny round disc where you were able to watch videos on. For wing foiling, do you have an app as well? There's a Duotone app, which has a lot of maybe similar things as well. Is there anything planned?
Yes, there's. I'm actually working on that. Also, when in the beginning, when we said I was fighting with my recording app here, but you were right that I'm also working on a mobile app that supports the whole book system, the whole learning system that I create with the book, and so it will be different though than the windsurfing Tricktionary one. I can't really afford recording 150 clips like that. And I don't, I mean, the Duotone app is really great. It is really well done and so on. And they kind of have this system of having a tutorial for every move. Mine will be more a kind of a masterclass direction where I focus really a lot on what I learned over the last years. For example, to learn a 360, if somebody wants more and wants to learn a 360, a Palau, a good drive, attack, and so on, all these moves that are milestones in everyone's kind of career or learning process, that are the most important steps, that I will do more very much more detailed process. Because in the books also, if you see the first book, I don't know if you have one yet.
No, I don't have
If not,
one yet.
I definitely have to send you one. You will see, I mean, it's 352 pages, and
Wow.
it has a lot of chapters, and many times, like for a jibe or attack, I can just show you a jibe or attack, but then it all connects things like you know how it is. It connects your body posture, your speed, how you enter. It connects your stance. You want to know if you're goofy or regular and how to approach it. Do you even want to learn riding in your unnatural stance, toe side, for example, or not? Or is it better to learn the foot change first? And then there's a lot of exercises on the beach, on the water, not foiling or even just visualizing. There's exercises that you can do to practice jibes and tacks while just riding straight and going a little bit up with your for example, I have an exercise where you go slalom, and you make the slalom first really slow and really gentle, but you learn how to move your wing, you learn how to enter a jibe and exit the jibe the other way while doing that. And so there's a lot of exercises that connect to each other. And that's what I do when I do coaching over a few days. I start with one, go to the next, and that way people get all the skills they need for finally completing the jibe. And many times I found it's more important to, to step it up like that, and people then suddenly do the jibe or tack or jump much easier. Same thing for jumping tricks. It's crazy how the jumping tricks, I mean, there's some that you can just go for it, but you need to have some basic ideas of how it, how it goes. You cannot just go downwind and try it, or you can, but it's not going to work out so easily. You can always go the hard way. I mean, I had some clients last year in the camp in Lake Garda that were learning 360s. I had one in particular that I remember. He was throwing himself so crazy with such a height and speed. I was telling him to slow down and so on, but with all the steps that I told him, in the end, he spun around really crazy fast and quick and landed them even that way. So you can go hardcore full on, but many people are more like, okay, slowly, step by step. That's what I do usually when I learn new tricks also. I go step by step.
Yeah, I'm especially with jumping, I'm always a bit scared, man. It's just like being in the air and coming back. That's just something different. I actually put on straps just a couple of weeks ago and tried to jump. I took them off again because just like for doing all the other things, like especially parawinging, where I need to go forward and backwards and with the waves, the straps are just in the way. So I took them off again, and I'm not sure how to continue with the straps. I have a question though, because you said 352 pages. That sounds like a heavy book, and I want to get into like production and whatnot later on. But my question is, who is this book actually for? You said this is like the beginner book, which is super exciting. But is it like you have it at your couch or on the toilet and you look at it, or are you going like step by step and learning from it? Who is it targeted to?
It is really, yeah, people do that. People, it's so funny when sometimes I meet people and they tell me, your book is in my toilet, in the toilet. I read it every day. And I'm like, yeah, great. Is it now a compliment or not? But yes, it is really made for you to sit down and just open it and read whatever and find a new thing every day, kind of, when you open it, because it's so much that it's not made to read one thing through it. It's not a book in a normal way. Look, I open some page now and you see it has these exercises, common problems and solutions. It's a perfect example. I just open it somewhere and you see that there's the good one in the beginning and then the bad examples in the end. Even me, I had to do all these bad examples that I normally never do, but that's the hardest thing to get to get crashes and bad habits and so on as photo. It's really difficult sometimes. So this is,
because it needs to look authentic as well, right?
It basically, that's the hard thing. That's why it takes so long, because you want to, I need to tell people, okay, this is a bad habit. You should not, for example, bend over in the hips because it messes up your balance on the foil, or, even it moves your center of gravity off the board and you will fall eventually. So at some point I need that photo and that one photo, and it's getting even, when it's in standing position, okay. But once you're riding like me, basically almost every day, or like Pete, for example, who was helping me in Egypt with photos, and I told him I need photos, and he was like, okay, which photos do you need? Give me a list. And I gave him a list, and it was all crashes of jibes and tacks, and he sent me those photos. You will see it in the book, and it is, the face he makes in those, he was scared, I tell you, man, because when you can do these things so good, you know what will happen. You will crash somehow in some way, and you will know you will crash, but you don't know what will happen. And so he was sometimes scared because these crashes then don't happen so much anymore once you got those bad habits or those movements out of your repertoire yet. Once you solve them, you don't do them usually anymore.
I have a question because one of the biggest fears of myself and of newer writers is that when you're up on foil and then you kind of start to tilt back that you want to correct just with your upper body and you fall onto the foil. Like this, I don't know, in German or here we call it Klappmesser, like the folding knife.
Yes.
Do
Yes.
you have that picture as well? Because I would not want to make a picture
I
of
will
that.
see if I have it, but yes, I we need to find it now. But yes, we have that. And the thing is, so what I always say when people tell me, when people well, this happens when you do this kind of, right, this one here, kind of,
Mhm.
it's kind of like that. You could now
Yeah,
fall to the
yeah,
front of the board and the other way. I don't
yeah.
know if I have it somewhere better or more scary. The thing is, yes, I know that, and I would say it happens the easiest when you have no foot straps and when you have really big foils, because the big foil,
Yeah.
I always say you can't avoid it from falling once it's off balance. Once
Mhm.
once it goes, the only thing you
Go
can
with
do
it.
is go with it,
Fall with
like
it.
you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that, and the other thing is, even to avoid it from falling somewhere, you want to be and I don't know how this is in parawinging yet, but in wing foiling, you want to be the extension of the foil mast. You don't want to bend over in your hips, you
Yeah,
know?
no.
So if you
No.
bend over in the hips, exactly that happens. I mean, you bend over kind of this way and the
Yeah.
thing goes the other way.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
you have that's what you don't want.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I always say. I mean, I still, I don't know if I have the
But if I
perfect
no,
photo
it's
for
fine,
it,
it's
but
fine. But if I imagine you having to make that photo, oh man, I would not want. But let's talk about these images. And did you like take videos and then take screen grabs, or do you have a photographer with it and he takes one photo after the other? That must be super expensive, super time consuming as well. How do you go? Do you like take a photographer a day, or how do you work with that? You have one on call that you can just like say, now is today.
yeah. Yes, so this is, for example, I don't know where we are here. Yeah, this is, for example, the small board starting techniques page. You
Nice.
see, for every start, you have a different photo, for example, and what you're talking about are these sequences that are all
Yes,
over
yeah, the one that we saw
the book,
earlier,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. So these, no, they are not videos. I mean, I had some where I had to try to get something out of a video, but basically all photos in the book are single shots and only an extraction of, mostly it's like up to 7 to 13 images per sequence maximum out of a sequence of like 30, 40 photos. So I have a database of like 400,000 photos for this book. And this is their work. It's fun to shoot because you just go out and you take photos and you do the stuff, but then the hard part is finding the right photo for the right topic, and it's really the topic that matters. Like, like you say, do you want this Klappmesser, this folding knife
Yeah.
thing? And sometimes, man, I tell you, you were looking for it for half a year or something, and then suddenly you either find it or you have to go out and shoot
Do it
exactly that,
again.
which is sometimes not easy.
So you must be very well organized. Like having a session like that with your photos, you go through the photos, you have to mark them correctly, put it into folders. I don't know how many terabytes you have, but that sounds like a lot of like admin work. You're probably good at that.
That's, I don't know how good I am, but I am, and I'm not so perfectly organized always, but yes, I have a catalog of sorted by shootings and the topic and so on. But many times also you need to find something from an extraction, like of a technique for a different topic, which is somewhere, and you can't sort for everything because you don't know everything. That's my problem. Many times the books are like, I go out and I shoot, but then the easiest would be, of course, yes, let's do a list of all photos that I need. But the thing is, and then just go through it and check off one after the other. But the thing is, while work, I mean, it's not that I sit down and write a Word document with or so of all the book, because it's not working that way, because there's so many different things that are crossing each other in all directions, that you really need to, basically I'm sitting down having a page in front of me of the book, and I put the photo there, and then I write. And I do that with all the book, and I move around things. And so in the end, I'm actually making the book. I'm not just writing a Word document, sending photos all to a graphic designer, but I'm putting all that together. And once it's all on the page, the photos, how I want them, which I also stitch together. I stitch together the photos since always. I'm stitching together the photos myself. Write the text, put the, problem, solution, this, that, here, there, wind arrow, where's the wind coming from, whatever, which category it is. And then I send all that to some designers that are working for me for a long time, and they go through it, polish it, make it a nicely looking with colors and so on, because all the books that I have are very colorful and nice. Since nobody is telling me what to do, and it's my project and my books, I make them that they are a bit more funky, crazy, nice looking, like a bit colorful, because it should be a fun sport. So I do the
I
books
want to
like
get
that.
I want to get into like the production in a second. Just two things. One, you're in Tarifa, and that sounds terrible to sit at a computer. Like going out, shooting these sequences sounds amazing, but then having to sit down, and it sounds like a lot of work that you have to do for these books. How difficult is that for you?
Well, I can go, when you live here, and I live here for a few years now, when you live here, if you can go every afternoon kind of, and you are much more relaxed about your water time. I mean, you still do your daily schedule or weekly schedule, whatever, after the wind guru wind forecast, but it's not, I mean, I don't know where you live now. Where do you live?
I'm in Switzerland, man. I have
Switzerland?
wind
What's your home
maybe
spot?
once a week. Lake Neuchâtel usually, Lake Thun, something like that, which you must be lucky, usually when it's cold.
Yeah. So I had that when I was living in Austria, Aachensee, Lake Aachen, close to my hometown, or Lake Garda, which is already a great spot where you can ride almost every day. But so that was my dream always, to move somewhere, live somewhere where I don't need to worry or bother with that, where there is just wind. And Tarifa, in the end, is just a place like that. You just go, look out. Even if the forecast doesn't say wind, then usually is some wind coming. It's crazy. I should do I'm saying that for years. Not very organized with that. I should do a wind statistics, like writing down every day, because I don't really know, but I imagine my average is every second day that I'm on the water. And
Wow.
and you don't even go as much. I mean, we just had 10 days of 40 knots Levante, which is then the other side. It's not even so much fun when it's
You're
day and
glad
night.
to take a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
The second question is, if people want to be featured in your book and they have a new trick coming, like for example, I sometimes write with Baltz, and I guess he has a lot of like new tricks coming. Do they make a video and they send it to you, or how does that work? Do you have spots available for cool new tricks?
I should actually put something like that, like a video challenge, or send in video or whatever, or new trick challenge
Yeah.
on the website. Yeah, that would be good. Normally, when people, I mean, when World Cup pros or so really do a new trick that is new, then they keep it for the next competition, because they want the innovation score.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, some of the guys I know well enough that they would even tell me before, but so it's a bit funny thing. But usually, yes, I mean, if somebody has a new trick that nobody knows, then I'm happy to see it or get some photos of. But many times, so new trick, I don't go so much, like I want every trick to be in the book, in the next one now, but it's more important that the baseline is covered. That's the super important thing, that if you want to learn a Palau, that you have all the steps to learn. Like, do you have 10-20 pages of exercises that get you to the Palau, and then you want all the palaus that are there to progress from the normal palau. You want it to do it higher. You want to do a palau combo, palau 3, palau double palau, palau back loop, and so on. Palau backflip, whatever. And so, and by the way, I'm also in touch with Balz for years. We started back then. I went to Silvaplana, and I think we had the first ever GWA race at Lake Moritz. What is the lake in
Lake
St. Moritz?
Silvaplana.
No, in the one before in St. Moritz.
The St. Moritz, Lake St. Moritz.
Moritz. Lake St. Moritz. Yeah. There we had a race kind of, and the freestyle. I think it was the first ever GWA competition.
I remember that. Like 3
Yeah?
years ago.
No, that is more. That was, I think, more time. It was the first ever GWA, I think. Anyway, so
Yeah,
we
I
were
remember
there,
that,
and
yeah.
then we went together up to a glacier lake there close by. For sure, you know all those places, and we took photos already. And I mean, I was shooting back then for the book already. It just took me so long, and still the freestyle edition is not out. But in the freestyle edition, I already have a lot of photos of Balz and Michi and all the Swiss stars that are also actually pushing hard on the international field of innovation always.
Yeah.
I mean, Balz is a machine, and all the
crazy, man.
Swiss guys are always there.
So once you decide, all right, the book is full, I'm done, I'm ready to produce. Is that difficult for you as well? Are you like a perfectionist? Like, I need to tweak a little bit here and there. Maybe a new photo would be nice. Or are you saying, all right, let's go. I can always make second edition 5 years from now or something. How are you with that?
Well, how would you be if you have to? So the thing is the production. So the thing is that you have to imagine I work for years on this book, and then I need to have, there's no way to actually have a finished book printed in front of you and look through it. There's no way to do that, or it costs way too much. So what usually happens is I have to finish the PDF, print ready, and send it to the printing company. The printing company sends me the last, the rendered finished files, and then I have to say, okay, that's the last chance to change single pages of the book, you know. And you have to imagine I do multiple languages at once. So I have, for example, in the wing file, I have 2 languages, 352 pages, and then I need to look through all of them and say, okay, or please change this page if I found an error. And then I go, okay, and 3 weeks later, there's a truck coming with several thousand books and puts them down. And that's the first moment you see a finished book the first time. And then it's really hard
nervous?
if you have, of course, of course. And then it's really hard to be sure, you know, you don't want errors there for 5 years. And I mean, there is errors always. There was never a book that is perfect. So I'm a bit perfectionist, but it's not that's the reason why these things take so long. In the end, I just need to fill all the gaps. And if I have a book and there's one page with still a gap of a photo, and I need to find the photo. And yeah, I mean, also the thing is nowadays, of course, things like AI, people think now that books are easy to do with AI and so on. AI was helping me a little bit. I mean, I trained one to help me with translation because I write the books in English usually, and then I translate them to German. But I found already, I mean, it's helping a little bit with translation, but it's only doing the first run. And then I have to read through everything. And then there's another proofreader, a German-speaking wing foil. Then I have a proofreader that is really reading if everything makes sense that is from outside. So it's always, and I found way too many errors that this would be working in the technique because many times the phrasing is just so tricky. So yeah, it's become easier. I've become a lot faster with finishing photos and so on. I have to say, I mean, the tools have become a lot better. For example, filling in the backgrounds around photos. I found photo sequences, doing the Photoshop work. Is much easier sometimes and takes a lot less time, but still, I have to just always, I go, okay, I have to one page by the other, and every page that is finished is one page less to finish. So it's like that. And yeah, that's why it takes a while. It's a lot of money, a lot of, it's something.
How many books did arrive in that first edition of that wingfoil book?
6,000.
6,000. How heavy are these? I can imagine these are tons.
This one is it's I remember, I think it's was it so we have 600-700 I think it was 15 pallets or something of books.
I mean, where do you put those? I mean, that needs some logistics as well.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
cannot
I have
just
a
order that to your
warehouse.
house.
Yeah, no. But I'm also not there, and they are shipped from my warehouse in Germany.
Okay.
So there's a small warehouse, and there we ship daily, we ship daily usually. All the orders that come in through the web shop, through Amazon. Surf shops also are always welcome to order, to have books and resell them. And one thing that I do, I mean, if you know someone, I give usually I give a free copy of those books to schools that
Okay.
are real schools. I mean, not when somebody is a teacher and goes to the beach
Yeah.
once and that's it, and I give away a book for everyone. But if there's a school that is a proper school where they can use that book for teaching, where they can put it there for their clients to read, then I usually give a free book for that, because I mean, it's, for me, it's good promotion, and and the schools sometimes need something to let people read up after courses or before courses, and for that, the Wingfoil book, the first one, is really very good. I heard already that many of the instructors are using it, because you can really prepare someone or let someone study a bit after a course on between lessons and so on.
So if people want to buy that book, it's tricktionary.com. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. You're on Instagram as well. Not only you as yourself, but Tricktionary. Do you know the Insta handle?
Wing.Tricktionary.
All right. So people can check out there as well. And you also
Thank you.
talked there about how the book was made, how it was when it arrived. And that's super cool that you share these personal stories. This is super cool, man. I think we've covered a lot now. Is there going to be a chapter of like, is parawinging in the making, or is that too young still?
Parawinging, yes, it is. So I'm focusing now on this advanced and freestyle edition. It may have a small chapter about parawinging, but it's this parawinging rather either. It depends how the sport develops, because if it explodes like wing foiling, it needs its own book. But otherwise, the third edition of the book will be containing wave, downwind,
Oh, nice.
maybe racing. I mean, it would be planned to do a racing thing as well. And then there would be a spot for parawinging as well in the third edition of the Wingfoil Tricktionary. So we will see how parawinging evolves.
I saw somewhere that you have some timelines when the next two books should arrive.
Yeah,
When was
but
that?
my timelines, so people, it's really difficult sometimes for me to put timelines. It's crazy. I mean, this Wingfoil book, I think people, I was announcing it coming out 3 years before it came out, or
Oh,
2 years
really?
before it came out, and it would just not come together. So I'm really bad in that. But in the end, things finish when they are finished, and at least that's my. I mean, in the
I
end,
mean, it's good if you're
I'm
not
the
in a
boss,
hurry and
and
have
I'm
time.
doing the
Yeah.
books, and so in the end, when they are finished, and they are finished, and I want to finish them all the time. So I'm really working on that. Besides coaching, besides all the other things, I'm really, really working hard to get those done. I just had a shooting for the freestyle book last week, also a small one, and that's how I keep going, and
Perfect. All right. Well, that's a perfect spot to finish that episode. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike, to come on the show. That was super exciting, and I hope to see you on the water sometime, man.
Yes, thank you, Matt. Super cool to be on your show. That was very nice talking to you, and I hope it gave a little bit more insight, and
Yeah.
that when anyone needs advice, then I am there, either online or in real life, and in my books. So yeah, Thank you so
Perfect.
much. And to see you in the water, yeah. Maybe one day I come back to Switzerland again. I mean, I was there, Silvaplana, several times already, and some other place. It would be nice to do a small Switzerland tour at some point. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Photos there are also nice. So,
Oh, I
maybe for
know.
future book.
Yes, I know. It's beautiful
All
there.
right, man. Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Okay. Ciao. Thank you.
This is Up on Foil, the podcast for everyone flying just above the surface. Pump, carve, soar, let's foil!
Comment, my best trick is crashing if you've made it to the end.